Hey everyone, we're going to start in about a minute. We're just waiting for everyone to join and then we'll start. Okay. Hi everyone, are you guys able to hear me? just drop a quick yes or no in the chat, everyone. If I'm audible. How's everyone? How's everyone doing? Guys, am I audible? Why on Zoom today? Because platform was not opening on my end. Not sure why, so I didn't want to delay. That's why the class only I rescheduled. Maybe some issue with my laptop. But yeah. Okay. So what's the update on the Quora project, guys? Anybody who has completed the Quora project? What's the update on the Quora project, guys? Anybody having any substantial progress or like, or maybe have completed altogether? Anyone? Do you guys need more time? Do you guys need more time? What's the status, guys? Tell me the status. A couple of more days. नेक्स्ट वीकेंड तक का तो नहीं दे रहा मैं टाइम, या चलो ठीक है फ्राइडे तक का दे देता टाइम. लेट्स कीप टिल फ्राइडे. ठीक है, ये पूरा वीकेंड तुम्हें मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट फ्राइडे तक का तुम्हें टाइम दे देते हैं, बिकॉज आई ऑल्सो नीड टू मेक श्योर कि जितना भी कंटेंट मैं तुम्हें पढ़ा रहा हूँ यू आर एबल टू कंज्यूम दैट. मैं ये नहीं चाहता कि जस्ट बिकॉज इट्स अ रिलेटिवली फास्टर कोर्स तुम उतना एब्जॉर्ब भी ना कर पाओ. राइट, नो वरीज. द gifts are still on, the bounty is still on, that if you are able to complete it well, then okay, if you are able to complete it well, then probably I'll try to do something big. Okay, maybe some licenses, some books. We'll do something. Okay, so till Friday I'm extending the date. Make sense, everyone? Nothing beyond Friday. Beyond Friday मतलब तुम भेज रहे हो नहीं भेज रहे हो ज्यादा कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. एक चीज मैं कर देता हूँ. I'll create a new text channel. ठीक है, इसका नाम रख देते हैं कोरा प्रोजेक्ट सबमिशन. ठीक है, तो मैंने एक चैनल बना दिया कोरा प्रोजेक्ट सबमिशन का. एंड वन सेकेंड, you guys can view the channel. You cannot create invite, you can send messages. Nobody can send messages in threads. No public thread. You can just send messages, one shot messages, or maybe just okay, let's have send messages in thread and embed links, attach files, maybe add reactions, use external limo. Can you mention everyone? No, you cannot mention everyone. And read message history. You guys must be able to see a brand new group with Quora project submission I have created. Okay. Is everyone able to see that on Discord? Is everyone able to see that on Discord? Right. And not just the best project, even your submission time matters to me. Like how fast you have submitted. Like if you, even if you are the first one, maybe, and you have one or two things less than somebody who has made a very good project but took so much time, I believe still you have a relatively good chance. Okay. That is something you have to keep in mind. Make sense, everyone? Cool. Let me share my screen. Desktop. Wow. Okay. So let's start with this. Okay. And one more thing. We need to fire up OBS. Okay. This is here. And So now we started like adding a few things here and there to our project, right? We'll try to make sure that our review service is in a slightly more better shape. I'll just quickly take a note if somebody has made any API or like any PR or something. So I'll just bring my browser here, bring it up here, and we'll create a new space, call it as class space. Create space. Okay, cool. So let's see. If I go to repositories, let's see if somebody has made any PR or something. Oh, we have some PRs. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. Okay. Oh, so there are some test cases also that somebody has added. Let's see. Review controller test. Great. I like the fact that we have some tests here. Although I have not talked about tests, but still you have added, like who has added this PR? Evident Tart. Who is this guy? Is this like who's this guy with this username? And is this guy even from our batch? Because the location is from Baltimore, Maryland. Anybody from our batch? This PR? But overall, you can see things look slightly good. We have some constructors to inject here, a couple of methods, deletion, we have get mapping. You can see we are getting the review. Okay. Review.map, this.ok, all this get, but not found, dot build. You can see looks good. Let's see the other one. Who's this one? Anybody in the class? Pranuti Durukkar in the class? Okay, let's quickly see what changes they have done. Okay, so they have added SL4J. Nice effort. For logs probably, but are they using it anywhere? Okay, and then HTTP looks good. New response entity, create review. Yeah, I like this. I like this. I definitely like this. This save method you don't need to separately mention. This is already present. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I like this even better. IMPL review one. This dot save. You can see things are looking fine, right? Looks good to me. And who is Ankan? Ankan Roy Chaudhary in class? Ankan Roy Chaudhary in the class? Yep, Ankan is there in the class. Review service, post mapping, get mapping. Ooh, I like this. That you have done some exception handling. Very good. Very good. I really like your PR, man. The moment I see some try catches, you are like I'm already sold. This is very good. Very good. I'm gonna merge this. Update review. What is this? Review service IMPL. Okay. Entity, throw a new entity not found exception. Very good. Very good. Okay. For now, you have done internal server error for most of the things, but okay. I overall like. I probably not merge it because probably we'll be writing a few things ourselves. But yeah. Um, nice effort. Nice effort from Ankan. Okay. So Ankan, just to make sure that we reward everybody's effort, right? Just allow me a minute. Just a second. Okay. Can you provide me your email ID, Ankan? Can you give me your email ID, Ankan? Can you give me your email ID, Ankan? Just a second. Let me see if I can copy. I can copy, I guess. Paste. Can I paste? Yep, I can paste. What's your first name, Ankan? What's your last name? Uh, I guess Roy Chaudhary. Roy Chaudhary. Sorry if I wrote anything wrong in the spelling, but okay. Okay, so I've just allocated a JetBrains license to you. Probably it should be there for 2 months, maybe. I don't know the end date for this as of now, but just to make sure that your efforts are rewarded. Can you check your email, Ankan, if you have received the license or not? And just quickly let me know. Again, for your efforts, nothing more, nothing less, because it was just a 1 day time and you made some really good progress in the PR. In fact, I would like to just copy paste a few things from here without much of an effort. So, yeah. Angan, just let me know in case if you have received it. Got it? Cool. So congrats, Ankan. The other two PRs are also looking good, but the only problem is that those persons are not in the class and somebody's location was Maryland. So I'm not sure if they are from our class or not. But yeah, truly good effort. And let's even merge Ankan's PR. I can just go through the PRs to make sure that everybody knows what's happening in the PR. Okay. So there is this PR that has been raised by Ankan Roy Chaudhary. What this PR is actually doing, it is just doing one simple thing. It has added a very, very basic controller. Whatever were the similar set of service methods that we had, for those service method, there is a, you can see, there is a post request, which can actually create a review. This is calling review services publish review method, and then returning a response entity with the corresponding review and the HTTP status created. Then there is a get request to get all the reviews. There is a get request to find a review by ID. And in case you are not able to find that review, it actually throws a not found exception. Then there is a delete request by ID. And then there is a put request to update it. And correspondingly in the service, you can see there is the interface they have updated for update review, publish review, and find all review. And inside this, if you carefully see, find review by ID, a bunch of try catch and everything here. If you are able to find the review by ID, if the review is empty, then you are going to throw a entity not found exception, right? Otherwise, if there is anything else that happens, then this review ID not found or unable to fetch, please try again. This can be an internal server error. Like the exception handling can be done in a even better way, but I still like this overall. Very good. And then you can see delete review by ID. Again, you have a try catch, and if anything goes sideways, you're just going to return true or false. Then there is a publish review. This one will just create the corresponding review altogether. I would like to see for publish review. Okay, so there is a review DTO only that you are expecting. This is good. This is good. And let's see. And then you have update review, which is having the review data altogether. This is good. This is good. And yeah, overall, this looks good to me. So I'm going to merge these changes. I'm going to merge these changes. Let's go to the PR once more. Okay. Looks good to me. Merging the PR format, and we're going to merge this PR. So congrats, Ankan Roy Chaudhary, for getting the PR merged. I'll just take a quick pull on my local. So I'll say get pull origin master. And you can see we have a couple of changes coming up from the brand new PR altogether. Make sense, everyone? Everyone, does that part make sense? Like these are just simple set of methods that are actually available here, right? The main core crux is inside this review service altogether. Okay, and we can just test these methods a bit. We can just do a quick testing here and there to see if the API is working fine or not. Okay, good progress, Uncle. Very good. So let's go to collections. I'll create a new collection. Oh, one second. Why does it signs me out? I don't know. Just a second, guys. Let me just quickly sign. Okay, so Postman is up. In case you have not installed Postman, I would highly, highly recommend you to install Postman. This tool is going to be extremely useful for your backend journey. Okay, cool. Uh, One second. It has still not signed me in. Why is that? Okay, now I'm signed in. Now I'm signed in. Cool. Okay, yeah. Here I'm signed in. Looks good. I'll add a new collection. So this collection we can have a blank collection. We can call it as Uber review service. Okay. And how many of you guys know how to use Postman? How many of you guys know how to use Postman properly? Okay, so there's a very interesting lecture that Ria recently took in one of the other batches on advanced use cases of Postman. Um, are you guys interested to learn that? I can just quickly upload that in your batch if you guys are up for that. It was a very nice lecture that she took. Very advanced use cases, maintaining environments, making some load testing here and there using Postman. So if you guys want, I can just upload that. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Cool. I'll do it. I'll do it. Okay. So I'll just do one thing. Just allow me a minute. Okay. Because like when you will use Postman in production, there are a lot of use cases apart from the normal content that you regularly use. That is very, very useful. And that is also something that is pretty good with that lecture. So we can take that up. Okay. Yep. I'll just upload it on your session as well. Okay, cool. So let's do one thing. Let's create a variable here. Okay, so you can create variables apparently in Postman. So let's say I'll say dev server URL, and our URL is what? On what port we are running our service? Application.properties. Port, did we change the port? 7474, right? So localhost colon 7474. This is the initial value. This is the current value. Okay, so we have added this variable. Now what we can do is we can actually go and add a request. Okay. Let's call this request as get reviews. Okay. And here what you can do is you can see it is already showing you some recommendation, right? So you can put a pair of curly braces and you can say dev server URL. And you have to save this one as well. Save it. Dev server URL. You can see it's already showing a recommendation. And then you can say slash API slash v1 slash reviews. You can see the server is up. Yep, the server is up. If I make a request, let's see what happens. Okay, it says 404 not found. Oh, my bad. This is API. Send it again. Okay, so you can see we are getting empty response because there are no reviews as such. And you can see this is actually connecting well. You can see the query that has been executed behind the scenes. Make sense, everyone? So things looks working fine on our end. Everyone, are you able to get this point? So if I go to review controller, so you can see we have one get request to get all the reviews. Okay. Now we have a post request as well to create a review. So what I'll do is I'll save this. I'll make a new request, add request, create review. Okay. Here also, I'll just use the dev server URL /API/v1/reviews, and I'll make it a post request. Okay. And inside the body, let's say I'll pass a raw JSON. So let's see, what do we need? We need a review object, right? So what are the properties of a review object? We need a string content and a rating. Let's try it. Let's try it out. So I'll say string content. Okay. Let's say this is a review. This is a review. And rating, let's say 4.5. Let's try to send this. Let's try to send this and see what happens. Okay. Let's try to test the API. If I send the request, you can see a brand new review has been created. And if now you go to get all reviews, send it, you can see we are able to get all the reviews as well. You can see things are working fine. Okay. Things are working fine. Yes or no, everyone? So we are able to create a review altogether. We are able to create a review altogether. Sure. How about if we try to send it without the rating? Now let's see. You can see rating is not a mandatory property. So if you will send it without a rating and send it, it will still create the review, keeping the rating null. But if you send without content, let's see what happens. If you send it, you can see it's an internal server error. Although it should not have thrown internal server error, ideally it should have thrown a bad request. Ideally, it should have thrown a bad request. I'll tell you how you can handle your incoming request and how you can do error handling more in a more better way. There are a bunch of concepts that you have to keep in mind for doing error handling. If you remember, we learned about advices. We can use advices. There is an annotation exception handler. We can use annotations. Bunch of things we can do. But again, we are not able to create a review without a mandatory parameter, which is the content. Make sense? And let's say if we want to delete a review. So let's say if I get all the reviews, you can see this is the review ID2, right? Let's say I want to delete it. So I'll just save it here. I'll make a new request, add request. I'll say delete review. Okay. It should be a delete request /review/2. Okay. I'll try to delete a review. Send it. Review deleted successfully. And now if you try to get all the reviews, can you see now you're getting only one review? This is looking great. Can I say that? Can I say that, guys? Now, do you see a problem here? Do you see a problem here? Everyone, do you see a problem here? Ideally, what should happen is that we should not be able to create a review without a booking. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Ideally, we should only be able to create a review when there is a booking. Yes or no? Isn't that a fair point? Isn't that a fair point? A review should not exist without. Yes, you're thinking in the good direction. A review should not exist without a booking. What are the strategies that you can come up with if you want to handle this kind of a scenario? Anyone? Maybe first think about with respect to the database level. How will you put the validations? How will you put the validations, Puneet? Check if the corresponding, check for corresponding booking for review ID. But booking won't be having the review before you actually create the review, right? We can add triggers. Very good. What will you do with triggers? Check the status of the booking, then take the review. Okay. Very good. Yeah. I believe that should be, in fact, even a better case, that we should not be able to add review to any booking. We should be only be able to add review to a certain type of booking. Like for a scheduled booking, there should not be a review. Can I say that? Yes or no? Don't you think? What else? What else, guys? So, interestingly, in our current application, what happens is we are able to create a review without actually creating a booking. For example, this review can get created if I just send it again. This will get created without a booking. Ideally, this should not happen. A review should not exist without a booking. There should always be a booking that is technically present, for which the review should, we should be able to create the corresponding review. Now, these kind of logics has to be handled in some way. And there are multiple ways to actually do it. Now, one way can be, you already have a one-on-one mapping between your booking and review, right? So inside the booking table, now just think about it. Think about the architect, think about with respect to the architectural perspective. In the booking repository, in the booking model, we have kept the review ID. Now, what is the problem with keeping the review ID in the booking model? That while creating the booking, maybe we can put a review. But while creating the review, we don't have a check. How about instead of keeping the review ID in the booking table, how about we keep the booking ID in the review table? Because just think about it. If the booking table has no review ID, is there a problem? No, there is no problem. Right? One way is you have foreign keys in both of them. That is, of course, one way that booking table has a review ID, review table has a booking ID. But that's unnecessary as well. What you can do is, instead of keeping your one-on-one mapping inside the booking table, how about you keep the one-on-one mapping booking ID inside the review table? In that case, you will not be able to create a review without a booking. Can a booking exist without a review? Yes, a booking can exist without a review. But should a review be able to exist without a booking? No. The review should not be able to exist without a booking. These kind of cases we have to actually handle. Are you guys able to get this point? Think about product perspective. Booking can exist without a review. But can a review exist without a booking? No. So now, this might be a good time to maybe make a database migration. What I can do is, I can remove this property from here. Okay, I'll remove this property from here. I'll go to review. Okay, I'll go to review. And I will say private booking. I'll call it like this. Okay. And again, we'll say one-on-one. We can remove the, or you can say cascade dot type dot all. Okay. You can have a dot all cascade type as well. And what you can do is you can say @ column nullable is equals to false. Now what will happen is, let's see. Okay. Sorry. We don't even need this. We don't even need this in fact. Okay. Now let's see. Let's see if we are able to actually create a database migration. So if I say Flyway versioned migration, what is our source? The current state that we want is the model. What is the previous state? That's the DB. If you click on OK, Let's see what does it try to create. You can see it does a bunch of things. It has altered the booking table to drop the foreign key and remove the, if you carefully see, from the booking table, it is removing the review ID. And let's see, in the booking review table, it is adding booking ID and then adding the constraint. That's what we want, right? The last two ones we don't need. This is again the unnecessary one. So we can add a migration that shifting mapping from booking to review.sql. Save it. I don't need the last two ones, so I'll just remove it. Okay. And you can see there is a foreign key constraint coming up. If there is a foreign key constraint, then of course they are going to be tightly coupled now. And if I now, just a second, and I'll just keep the DB open as well. You can see this is the DB. If I run my code, let's see what happens. You can see the code has been completed successfully. If I refresh my database, now you can see from the booking table, review ID is gone. And from inside the review table, there is a booking ID that has been introduced. This looks relatively better. Now let's try to create a review. Now you can see I'm trying to create a review without sending a booking ID. Let's see what happens. If I try to send it, can you see this is still being created? This is still being created. And booking is coming as null. But should that be the case? Should we be able to create review without a booking and just putting booking as null? Do you think that? Everyone. So what can we do here? Yeah, I'll delete that, Satvik. I'll delete that. But do you see the current issue that although we have a foreign key, but it's not a mandatory property? Can I say that? How can we resolve this, guys? Anyone? You can say nullable false. Okay. What else? You can give booking ID in API. Somnath is saying, how about you give booking ID in API? Of course, you can give booking ID in API, but our backend should be robust. Our backend should technically throw an error that, hey, you have not passed a booking ID to create a review. Yes or no? Check booking ID not null before saving the review. Okay. Okay. That can be one way. That can be one way. Any other way in which you can actually enforce it somehow, probably? Okay, so somebody said @valid. So let's read about @valid. @valid in Spring Boot. Okay, if you see validation, there is an annotation for validation. And if you go here, you have to add the corresponding dependency for Spring Data JP and everything. That's simple. And if you go here, you say @valid. We need to implement a layer that allows us to get the values of the user object and everything. Can you see? You have added @valid here. Now, this is where you are going to actually handle your exceptions. Okay. But I don't think @valid is going to make sure that booking ID is a mandatory property until or unless you mention that in the code. Just by putting a @valid here is not going to probably help. What do you guys think? Let's try it out. Okay. Satvik, eventual solution is that only. But yeah, I just want to see like what solution people have. So there is a @request body, and let's say you say @valid. @valid. So there is an annotation @validated coming up. Okay, let's see if there is a difference between @validated and @valid. So @validated versus valid annotation. Spring Boot. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, and again, I want to come to middleware slightly a bit late. So yeah, you can see there is a user account. This is valid annotation, but for validated, you can see. If you come here, let's just quickly search @validated. You can see here you can actually add a bunch of validations altogether. Okay, but these are the validation. But don't you think, like, even if you are able to add the validation in your corresponding controller, technically your database level validation should also be there. Think about it. Maybe somebody made a incorrect DB query. How about if somebody made a incorrect DB query and actually created a review without a booking? How about that? Don't you think that's going to be a problematic scenario? Just think about it. No, if I will add validation on the control, like validation, everything we'll talk about in depth. But if we will add a validation here, what do you guys think? What will happen? If somebody is making using our API to create a review, that will still be validated. But if somebody directly makes a DB call, somehow maybe our developers only, and they create a review, they will be able to create a review without a booking, right? DB, the view inside the DB will be inconsistent. Can I say that? Are you guys able to get this point? Drop a quick yes or no in the chat. How is it taking null value? Then it has foreign key constraint. Won't foreign key constraint is not going to like if you will try to delete the booking table, it will not allow you to delete the booking table because there are corresponding reviews out of it. But it doesn't ensure that that property cannot be null, right? It can be null, right? Okay. So here, what we need to do is we need to add a database level validation as well. So what you can actually do is there is a annotation join column where you can say nullable is equals to false. Okay. If you will try doing just column, if you'll just try to say @column, then you can see it already throws us a warning that @column is not allowed on a one-on-one property. So if you have a one-to-one mapping, there is something called as a join column. Join column is the annotation that helps you to modify the properties of the foreign key column that is present in the other table. And here you can say nullable is equals to false. And now maybe we can make one more migration. I'll click here, flyway version migration. Okay. And can you see? This is making modify booking ID to not null. Can you see now on the database level, we have added not null. If you will not add this database level check, anybody, and let's say we just add the logical level check or the controller level checks or the service level check, then if anybody is using our API, those people will not be able to create a review without a booking. But if somebody is directly accessing the database, they will be able to create it. And we don't want that. Our logic should be foolproof everywhere. So we'll save it. Oh, my bad. It just, let me just rename this file. Otherwise, this naming will be slightly bad. Let's refactor. There is some refactor, right? Rename. And let's call it as add not null constraint to booking ID. Booking ID in review. Okay. Save it. You can see this has been added. And now I don't want this booking changes, this varchar changes. I don't want. Okay. I'll just execute the code. And let's see then what happens. And now you can see there is an exception that has been executed. Okay. And let's see. Da-da-da. Alter table booking review. Once again, this has some problem which has unique booking ID. This is okay. Okay. And there's a booking review, booking ID, begin, not null, modify booking ID. 1 second. uh, invalid use of null value. Let's go up. Let's go up. Okay. It says alter table booking review, modify booking ID, begin to not null. This is actually causing a problem. I guess we have to drop the we have to first of all drop the older data, because now there is some data that is already present inside my booking review table where booking ID is already null. Okay. So if you make a query, if you make a new query console, and if you say select star from booking review, what you will realize is that we already have some data that has booking ID as null. Can you see booking ID is null all everywhere? So what we have to do is we'll probably need to delete all of this data. Okay. So you can say you can write a query, or if you're using this ultimate version, you can manipulate everything from here. If you click on delete rows, right? And 1 second, yep, save it. You can see all of the rows are gone. If now execute, there is no row present. Now let's turn up our server again. This time it should be able to add it. Let's execute the code. Once again, let's see what is the issue now. Okay. So you can see there is a halfway executed migration, because previously it started running and then a problem got into it. So let's do one thing. Let's go to the query console again. New query console. You can just use this one, and let's see what all migrations are there. Select star from flyway schema history, and let's execute it. Okay, you can see this one got unsuccessful, right? So what we can do is we can just delete this entry probably. We can just delete this entry, save it, and let's try to run it again. Let's try to run it again. This time it should technically allow us to add the migration. Okay. And now, can you see there is a duplicate constraint it is trying to add, which was already added. So probably we don't need this. We don't need to add this one. We don't need to add this unique constraint again, because this is already present probably. So again, we might be having a migration that is not successful. If I run it, you can see again this migration is there. Let's delete this again. Save it. Let's try to run now. Let's try to run now. And looks like everything is in a good shape, right? Let's try to create a review. Now, if I execute this code, internal server error. Now we are not able to create a review without a booking. That's the best part, right? So what we can actually do is, let's say we create a booking manually because we don't have booking related APIs as of now. So we say insert into booking, right? Insert into booking. We'll add all of these values. And we say values created at as now, updated at as now, booking status as scheduled. Okay. And start time as, let's say, now, end time as, let's say, now. Okay. And then total distance as 10 maybe. Driver ID we need. Let's see if we have a driver. Select star from driver. Let's see if we have a driver or not. No, we don't have a driver, so we need a driver as well first. So insert into driver, values created at now, updated at now, license number, something like this. Okay. Phone number is yes. Okay. Cool. And let's see. 5 values are expected. Oh, name is also expected. So let's call it as driver1. This is the name. Okay, cool. If I execute this code, we should be able to create a driver. This looks good. Select star from driver, execute it. Now you will be having a driver. So here we can put the driver ID as 1. Driver ID is 1. Now we need a passenger ID as well. So we need to create a passenger as well. So insert into passenger values. What values do we need? Created at, updated at, okay. And name is, let's say, passenger1. That's it. So we can create a passenger altogether. And we can pass this passenger's ID 1. So probably it will get an ID 1. And now if you create a booking, okay, let's see if we were able to successfully create a booking or not. Select star from booking. You can see we have a booking. Now, technically, what you should send is, maybe you should send a booking property. You can send a booking property, let's say with ID 1. Okay. And let's restart the server for once. Okay. Let's restart the server and let's see what happens. Okay. Now if you send it, one second, what happened? Oh, it was not completely started. Let's send it again. Okay. You can see it says bad request. Why it says bad request? You can see JSON parse error, cannot construct instance of booking with an integer. Can you guys see? We are sending a booking ID. We are sending a booking ID. And what we are expecting here is, if you go to the review controller, we are expecting a review here. And if you see a review, can you see? This is a booking object. This is a booking object. And we are passing an integer. Can you see? We are passing an integer. How to resolve this issue now? Now, this is again another issue that is coming up with the API. Can I say that, guys? We are passing a number, but it is expecting a booking instance. Yes or no? It is technically expecting a booking instance altogether. How to resolve this? Anyone? Can we make booking to booking ID? Let's try it out. How about if we make booking to booking ID? And if we send the request, you can see there is a data integrity violation, a null property. Again, it's not able to actually detect this booking. Send a booking object. Okay, that's an interesting take. How about we try to send a JSON object booking with a ID 1 here. Sorry, my bad. ID 1 here. How about this? How about this? If I send this request, can you see it's again a internal server error? Now what, guys? We are moving towards a particular topic. Let's see who is able to actually identify that. Somnath, the problem is now, can you see inside the table, we have actually added booking ID, right? Now to create the review, you need to send the booking ID, right? How to send the booking ID? If I'm setting the booking as 1 and send it, can you see it's not accepting the request? Why? Because inside your class, inside your review class, booking is what? Booking is an object. You are sending a number here. It is not able to map it, right? Yes or no? So now to handle these kind of issues only, there is a concept called as DTO. There is a concept called as DTO. What is DTO? DTO is actually called as data transfer object. DTO is called as data transfer object. So now, what is the data that we want to send? We want to send content, rating, and probably, let's say, a booking ID, kind of like this. And eventually, what do we want it to be created as? We want to be created this to be created as a review. But for that creation, there is some kind of logic that we have to insert. That using this booking ID, we have to fetch the booking first, because maybe somebody sends a random booking ID. The problem is maybe somebody sends a random booking ID. So we have to check that whether that booking is actually existing or not. Whether that booking is actually existing or not. And if that booking is existing, then only what we should be able to do. We should be able to create a corresponding review for that particular booking, right? So for this reason, we are not expecting a booking object. We are expecting a booking ID. So inside our API, if you will currently see, our APIs are structured in a way that it expects a review object. But review object has nothing to do with the booking ID. Can I say that? Review object has nothing to do with the booking ID. Review object understands the booking object. It doesn't understand booking ID. Can I say that? In that case, what do we have to do? We have to put a intermediary layer in between, right? We have to put a intermediary layer in between. And that intermediary layer is the one that is actually going to help us to complete this particular API. And that intermediary, entity is going to be called as DTO, data transfer object. So if you remember, we talked about the fact that whenever, let's say, we are going to consume some request, or let's say we are going to send some request. When I say we are going to consume some request, some client is going to send a request to us that we are going to consume. Can I say that? And let's say when we are going to send a request, then there will be some other API to which we are going to send the corresponding request. Can I say that? There will be some other API altogether to which we are going to send the request. Now, on our logic, we were expecting a review object, but the client doesn't know how to create a review object, right? Because these IDs and everything are all what? Are all our backend logic altogether. Can I say that? Can I say that? So we need to have a contract that is understandable by client and understandable by us. That client is going to send us data in this particular information. This information is not the final view of the database. This information we have to technically convert. Right? And this formatting or this contract is going to be referred as DTO, data transfer object. So we are going to create a class for mentioning how the DTO will look like. This API will expect a DTO. And then internally, we are going to write the code logic to convert the DTO parameters into things that we actually understand. And then we are going to create the review entity altogether. We need to do a few things, Satvik. But how many of you guys are able to get this point? Drop a first of all quick yes or no in the chat. Is this point making sense? What is DTO? Why do we need it? So on and so forth. DTO will do mutual understanding between client and server. You can say that, yes. So we will not use review as object as request body. No, Pawan Patil. We will not. More questions, guys. Before we start the implementation, I want you guys to, first of all, ask me a bunch of questions that you might be getting in your head. Instead of DTO, we can find that booking is present or not by making a call on the booking microservice. Ankan, okay. So we are going to eventually do that. But our client doesn't know what we are going to do as a logic, right? Our client should technically just send us the booking ID. Now, whatever we have to do, we will do that here. Can I say that? Whatever we have to do, we'll do that here. Yes or no? Is that point making sense? Sir, but DTO we're calling to that Pojo class in which we are using API for serializing all. Yes, it will be a simple Java class only. Client won't know the review object. That's why we need this. Yes, Satvik, you're thinking in the right direction. Very good. More questions, guys. More questions. Anybody having any more questions? Guys, time for questions, guys. Okay, cool. So let's try to do this. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to create a bunch of DTOs. Okay, we are going to create a bunch of DTOs. DTOs are going to be nothing but just your plain Java classes only. It's not going to be something very fancy altogether. Okay, you can make a folder DTO inside your service, or you can make a folder like view models. A lot of people name it very, very differently. Okay, so I'll create a new package. I'll call it as DTOs or data transfer object, whatever you want to say. I'll just call it as DTOs. DTOs. And let's say here, what we are going to create is we are going to create a brand new DTO. Okay, you can see there is already a example DTO creator that is coming up. Okay, which has a bunch of methods coming up here. Now, what is the domain entity that we want to use? Which entities DTO we want to make? Let's say we want to create the DTO of the review entity altogether. Okay, now it will show you the options. Do you want to keep an ID? Do you want to keep a created at? No, we don't want to keep a created at. We don't want to keep updated at. We just want to keep a content. We just want to keep a rating, and maybe we will manually add booking. So you can use this tool in order to make sure that you are able to create it maybe in a faster way. You can see you can add mutable, immutable. You can add these methods like equals, hash code, all of these things. But what we are going to do is we are going to create it manually. Okay, so I'll call it as create review DTO. Create review DTO. Okay, we'll create a class here. We'll say at the rate. We'll add the getter setters. We'll add the getter setters, and we'll add some properties. So we'll say private string content. So we are going to expect a content. Private double rating. We are going to expect a ratings. And what we are going to expect is we're going to say private long booking ID. This is what we are going to expect. Can I say that? This is what we are going to expect. Okay. And inside the review controller, you can say the and let's name it like this. Let's rename it. My bad. Refactor. Rename. Let's keep the C capital. Okay. Refactor. Okay. So you can see what we are going to do is we are going to create a DTO object like this. We are going to create a DTO object like this. We'll add the getter setters. Okay. We don't need the review ID here. You have to keep this thing in mind. Why? Because this DTO is to create a review. Before creating a review, how do you get an ID? Because ID is automatically generated. So we are not going to pass a review ID here, right? ID will be automatically generated by the backend. So the caller or the client doesn't need to mention the review ID because it will be created after creating the review object. But they need to pass the corresponding booking ID definitely. And then what we can actually do here is we'll say the request body is not going to be of the review type. It will be of create review DTO type. Can I say that? And now this review service, we are going to say this dot review service dot publish review. This publish review is expecting a request object. But now we are not having a request object. We are having a create review DTO object. So now what we need to do is we actually need to create a new request object. We actually need to create a request object using this, right? We need to create this review object. So what we have to do is we have a DTO. We have a DTO. 1 second. Okay. We have a DTO. Why the pencil is not working? Okay, not. Create review DTO. Create review DTO. We have to convert this create review DTO to a review object. Can I say that? We have to do an interconversion of one object to another object. For this kind of a scenario, there is a design pattern that we can actually use. That's called as an adapter design pattern. What's an adapter design pattern? If at any point of time you have been to any international country, then you will realize one thing, that your Indian sockets are not compatible in the countries like Dubai, US, UK, Australia. They have a very different electrical sockets. Like your charger, your Indian chargers are not going to directly work there. So what you do is you buy an international adapter. What international adapter use, or what international adapters do is, you put your charger in the international adapter because they are compatible with the Indian pin. And then on the other side, they actually do some conversion for the corresponding connector. For example, if I show you international adapter, Amazon. Okay, let's wait for it to open. I don't want to sign in. International adapter Flipkart. You can see these kind of adapters are there. So they are going to accept your pin. But the moment on the other side, if you see, on the other side, they have a lot of pins. So whatever country you want to go for, they will convert your socket to the corresponding country. Same thing we have to do here as well. We have to write a converter. We have to write a corresponding converter. This converter is actually going to, let's stop this. This converter is actually going to convert our create review DTO to the review DTO. Can I say that? Are you guys able to get this point? Is this point making sense, guys? What I'm trying to say here? No. So we have to have a adapter layer. So what we are going to do is, I'll add one lecture on adapter design pattern if in case you guys don't feel are very comfortable around it. It's a very simple design pattern. I'll add a lecture on adapter design pattern as a recorded lecture. You can just watch that post class. But yeah, so what we are going to do is, we are going to have one more layer, new package. Oh, my bad. Not this. Definitely not this. How do you delete? Okay, so what we are going to do is, we are going to create a new package and we will call it as adapters. Inside adapters, we are going to write our converters, which is going to take one thing and is going to correspondingly convert it to something else. Okay, so we are going to say, let's make a new Java class, and let's say we have an interface, and we will call it as, let's say, for example, create review DTO to review adapter. Okay, create review DTO to review adapter. There's an interface, and we are going to write a method. Let's say public review convert DTO, and it will take a create review DTO object. And it is going to throw you a review object. It is going to throw you a review object altogether. Okay. And now we can write an implementation for this. So you can say create review DTO to review adapter, IMPL. This is going to implement this adapter. So we need to have a method. Okay. So this method we are going to technically override here. Okay. And now here we are going to write our logic. So first of all, we have to fetch the booking, right? For fetching the booking, we have a booking repository. So we can very easily fetch the booking, right? So what we are going to do is, we are going to say optional, not option, optional booking is equals to we'll inject the booking repository. So we'll say booking. So let's have it here. Private booking repository, and we'll add a constructor injection. So we'll say public create review DTO. Okay. And we'll say booking repository, and we'll say this dot booking repository is equals to booking repository. This is good. Sorry, this is not create review DTO. This is the adapter class. And we'll say booking repository dot find by ID. And what is the ID? ID is create review DTO dot get booking ID. So we are going to get the corresponding booking. Can I say that? Okay. And we'll check if booking dot is empty, then what we are going to do is we can actually return null. For now, till the time we have not done exception handling and everything. Otherwise, what we are going to do is we are going to say review is equals to review dot builder. We'll take the builder, and what we are going to do is we are going to use this builder object. Okay. We'll say dot rating as create review dot get rating dot booking as your available booking dot get dot rating as, or rating is already there, so this should be content as create review DTO dot content dot build, and at last we are going to return this review. Make sense? We are going to correspondingly return this review. Okay. So we'll just make it an inline variable and we'll just directly return it. Okay. Any suggestion that is IntelliJ giving you, you can just use that. Okay. So you can see I have added a if check like this, but IntelliJ is saying you can actually add something better inline check. So what you can do is you can just do a map, and if the value is present, then you can create a review builder, create the whole content and build it, or you can return null. So this logic we can do. So a lot of time, a better code suggestion IntelliJ already gives us. And now inside the review controller, you can see this publish review is expecting a request object, right? This request is now no more a review. So what you can do is you can say new, and before that, is Spring going to automatically create the object of this class? No. So what we have to do is we have to do a @ component here so that Spring starts maintaining object of this class. And then we can say, let's do something like this. So we can inject private create review DTO. Okay. Create review DTO adapter to review adapter. Sorry. Create review DTO adapter as this. And we can inject it here, calling it as create review DTO to review adapter. And we'll say this dot simple constructor injection I'm doing, nothing fancy. This. And here we can just say this dot adapter dot convert DTO, and we'll pass the request. So we will pass the request and it will give you the review object back. But this review object can be null, right? So for what you can do is you can cut this out from here. You can say review incoming review is equals to this. Okay. And if review is null, if incoming review is null, what you're going to do is you're going to say return new response entity. Okay. We can return a message that For example, invalid arguments. For now, I'll just say invalid arguments. And the status we will return as HTTP status dot, let's say, bad request for now. Okay, I'll just do this. And let's see what is the issue here. Oh, we have sent response entity as review. So let's make it a wildcard. Okay, we'll make it a wildcard. And now if it is not null, then we'll pass the incoming review. We'll pass the incoming review. So these kind of logics you have to implement yourself. Let's try to run the code and see if at least the compile time setup is working for us or not. If I run the code here. You can see compile time wise, everything is looking good for Spring at least. Okay. Let's try to create the booking now, review now. If I send the request. Okay. This probably throwed an error or something. Once again. So it has ideally, I guess it has created something, but let's see, something happened here. Let's quickly check our database. Let's see the review, booking review. Okay, yeah, this is a review has been created with the booking ID 1. Something very small probably happened. Let's see. What is the issue? The logic is working. You guys can see the logic is working. And let's see, this dot review, publish review. We have a review coming up here. And this, something happened with Postman. What happened? It said it cannot get the response. Invalid characters in chunk size. I believe I know why is that happening. Just a second. What is the response structure looking like? This dot incoming review. Let's just do one thing. I guess inside my review there is a inside. So probably it's not able to parse what is getting returned. The review is getting created properly without an issue. So you can see this dot content. So let's do one thing. Let's also add the, it's probably having the booking details as well. So that's the issue. Okay. So we'll say booking as this dot booking dot get ID plus this. Okay. And let's do one thing. Let's go to our controller, review controller, and let's just print this out. Let's see what review we are printing. Okay, let's rerun the code. Let's try to create one more review. Let's see what happens. Let's wait for the server to be up. But this logic should be inside service of controller, I guess. No, service contains your business logic. Is this a business logic? No, it's a conversion logic. And where is the conversion logic lying? Conversion logic is lying inside the adapter layer. We have not implemented the logic, in fact, in the controller. Controller still has no logic. Controller just is making the call to the adapter. Adapter has the logic to convert whatever you want to get converted to. Are you able to get this point? Rajat? Okay. So you can see the service is up. The service is up. And now if I send the request again, let's see what happens. Okay, there is an internal service error. Oh, so there is a duplicate entry 1. So there is already a review with booking ID 1. So probably what we have to do is we have to delete that review first. Let's delete this review. Okay, so review has been deleted. Let's try again. Send it. And can you see this time it has actually created? And this was the problem. Can you see? There's too much data coming up. There is too much data coming up. Why there is too much data coming up? If you carefully see on our logs, review is coming up very properly because this has been created properly. But this data is problematic. Why? Because if I close this up, if I save this up here, if you go to the booking model now and you go to the review model, Now review model has one-to-one mapping to booking. And if you see the booking model, can you see booking model has all of this data coming up. So if you carefully see what is being printed here, if I just copy all of this, I guess this is too much of a data. Let's see if it will allow us to copy. And if I open Sublime text, okay, it will be a lot of data. It's a lot of data. Can you see? This is too much of a data. This is too much of a data, in fact, even to handle for Sublime. And why is that coming up? Why is that coming up? Can you see? Inside booking, there is a driver. Inside driver, there is a booking. Inside booking, there is a driver. Inside driver, there is a booking. So this is coming recursively, right? And why is that happening? Because booking has a driver, and inside the driver, this booking mode, this is okay, we have kept this as lazy, okay? And let's see one more thing. So we have a booking here and we have a driver here, okay? So this is coming up, and let's see. Yeah, it's kind of like a recursive infinite loop. Okay, you can see booking, again you have a driver, then inside driver again you have a booking. So what we have to do is we have to just make sure that when we are fetching the booking and when we are fetching the driver, it should not recursively fetch us these kind of things. Are you able to get this point? Everyone, is this point making sense? That it is just recursively fetching the booking and recursively fetching the corresponding driver. Then driver again fetches the booking. So let's see, where is the issue line? So so this is fetch type lazy, and inside the review, okay, you can see inside the review we have a one-to-one mapping. One-to-one mapping is what? One-to-one mapping is a eager loading mapping. So what we have to do? So one-to-one mapping is, you can see there is a one-to-one mapping. One-to-one mapping is a eager loading mapping. So you can say fetch is equals to fetch type dot lazy. Now, if you run this code, again, we have to delete that review because one booking can have only one review. Let's delete this, save it. Okay, so this has been deleted. Let's try to execute it now. If I run the code, okay, it's still fetching all of the data. It's still fetching all of the data. Let's see what is the issue. Let's see what is the issue. Is the lazy type not applicable? Let's just quickly check. Passenger is lazy, driver is lazy loaded. Okay, these are all lazy loaded. Inside the driver, this is lazy loaded. This is okay. Okay. And inside the booking, inside the review, we have this as lazy loaded. Let's see, what is the issue here? Let's see. Let's Google it. Models recursively fetching each other. Spring Boot. There must be somebody who might have actually called it up. You can see bidirectional relation, infinite recursion. So you can see. So DTOs are there. This is good. Okay, lazy fetching. We have applied lazy fetching. So that is good. Let's see. Okay. And inside the booking, do we have a review? No. So inside the driver, we have a list of bookings, and a booking belongs to a driver. Okay. So, so there is a one annotation that we can probably use, JSON ignore, but let's see if there is something else, something better. Let's see what other suggestions they are having. Yeah, one way is we can make it transactional. You can see we can make this one actually as transactional. This is also one more way. Okay. Okay, so there are two, three ways in which we can actually resolve it. One way is the response structure also is coming up as a DTO. We can have the response structure also coming up as a DTO only. Or what we can do is we can actually, when calling a repository method from your service layer, it is important that this is happening at the transactional scope. So there are a bunch of ways in which you can handle it. So according to this article, you can see we can make our repository call from our service layer to repository call as transactional. Okay. So you can see, or you can have a custom DTO coming up. So let's try both of them one by one. So let's go to our service, review service implementational, publish review. Let's make it @transactional. Let's try it out again. Let's restart. And you can see server is up. Now we need to remove that booking review. Let's delete this. Save it. Let's try it again. Send it. Still this is coming up. I guess we have to say read only to true. One second. Let's delete this one again. Here we should say read. Okay, one second. What was the property they mentioned? Da, da, da. Read only equals to true. Let's see. It's not actually getting this read only method. Let's see if this has changed in the new API or what. Let's see. Da, 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 da. You can even do a JSON ignore. I mentioned, right? You can do a JSON ignore. Let's see. Let's see. What are we missing? Are we missing anything here? @transactional is mentioned. Okay. Anything? Publish review. This dot review repository dot save. We are saving the review and we are returning the review altogether. Oh, there is an import issue. One second. What did it import it from? I guess this is importing it from the right place. Let's see. Let's see. So we have a student model, one-to-many contacts, contact model, many to one student. Issue looks like this. You can see. So you can see the first recommendation that they are also giving is JSON ignore, right? To avoid this infinite recursion. So what you can do is JSON ignore properties, these, so it will ignore the properties. This is one way. So you can see they are also recommending us to use JSON ignore properties. Are you able to see this? So this is also that we can use. This is also that we can use. Or we can use the corresponding DTO also. Like when you're actually returning a response also, then also you can correspondingly create a DTO altogether. That is also one way in which you can actually handle it. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do that. So let's say, let's try with the DTO first. Let's try with the DTO first. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a new DTO. We'll create a class review DTO. We'll just call it as review DTO. This is just for any generic review DTO altogether. Every review is going to have a private long ID, then private string content, private double rating, and private, you can say, long booking. booking. I'll add the getter setters. I'll add the getter setters here. At the rate getter, at the rate setter. I'll also add the builder because we now have to create this object, right? All args constructor, no args constructor. Okay. And then what we can do is we come back to the review controller. Now you have this review object that has been created. Now you can create a response DTO in this form. So you can say review DTO response is equals to, let's import this. This is a more subtle way to logically handle things. Review DTO dot builder dot build, and we'll add the properties. So we'll say dot, one second. What are the properties here? We have a ID property, right? So let's come back. Okay. Why the setters are not coming up? One second. Why the setter is not coming up? Review DTO. We have getter, we have setter, we have builder, all args constructor, no args constructor. Da-da-da. One second. Let's see why we are not able to create this object here. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Review DTO dot builder dot, let's see. Oh, we have the direct. It doesn't say set or something. We have direct mention here. So let's do that. ID is going to be review dot get ID. Okay, just like this we have to do. So ID is review dot get ID dot content is review dot get content dot booking is review dot get booking dot get ID. Then you have rating, review dot get rating. Anything else? No. We can do one more thing. When we are actually returning, we can have a created at and updated at. So we'll say create private date, created at, private date, updated. We can also send this property, right? Because now review has all of this. Review has all of this. So we can come up here and we can say dot created at as review dot get created at, and then updated at as review dot get updated at. And then at last, we can do a dot build. We can say dot build. Dot build. Okay. And then we can just return this response altogether. We can return this response altogether. Let's try it now. Execute the query. We'll just go to the booking review table. Let's refresh. No review at all. Let's wait for the server to be up. You can see completed initialization, server is up. Now, if you send the request, can you see? Now we are getting a proper review coming up. So there is a request DTO that we have prepared, and then there is a response DTO that we have prepared. And however the response you want, for example, you can see 201 created is coming up. Now let's say you do not pass the booking. Let's say you do not pass the booking. Let's see what happens. If you do not pass the booking here, send it. You can see we are getting an internal server error. The ID must not be null. Of course, it should be a bad request, but at least the error is coming up. And let's say you pass a booking ID. You pass a booking ID which is not present. Like there is no booking with ID 8 present as of now. If you send it, you can see we are getting invalid arguments. Where is this being handled? This is being handled here. In the review controller, you can see invalid argument. Okay. This is being handled here. As simple as that. And one more thing, I believe a lot of times you might have to create a review and return it. For example, when you're going to get review by ID or something, right? Then also you have to create this review, right? Then also you have to create this review DTO. So what you can do is you can actually move all of this call to a helper method. Maybe you can have a util class altogether that can actually just have one method to create the review DTO, response review DTO, which takes a review object and just creates this object altogether. So another converter or an adapter you can write, or maybe you can just move it to the corresponding, what do you say, util layer if you want. Okay. So this is something that is technically working for us. Now, maybe what we can do is we can try to get all the reviews. Let's try to have a get all review. So you can see, let's see what is the current review ID that we have. If I refresh, you can see the current review ID is 10. If I go to get reviews and I say /review/10, now what's going to happen? If I send it, again, the same problem is happening. Why? Because now again, you are fetching the review, but again, review has driver, driver has this. So there's a long chain of association that is actually coming up. So inside your find review by ID as well, here, technically, you should return a review response DTO altogether. So you can make all of these conversions coming up, and then correspondingly, you can have a end-to-end API working in front of you. So that's why we need DTOs altogether. For builder, no setter. Yeah, we can just say dot this, dot this, dot this. I'm not sure why I was thinking about the syntax dot set ID. But yeah. Make sense, guys? How we are actually making the API work, right? I hope this point is making sense to everyone. Got it, guys? Everyone, is this point making sense? Drop a quick yes or no in the chat. No, Pawan, you could have used that also, but I believe again that's too much magic. You can use this, guys. JSON ignore properties, contexts. What will it will do? It will remove the content. Let's even use that. I don't have a problem. You can use that, but I believe then it will be too much magic. So let's come up here, and you have to add this in a model. So what you can do is you can go to the, let's say, for example, driver model. And inside the driver model, for example, you can say @JSON. What is the syntax? JSON ignore properties. Ignore properties. And let's say I'll say ignore the properties booking. Bookings. Sorry, spelling mistake. Bookings. Now if you run the code, completed initialization. Now if you try to get a review 10, send it. Once again. Converter JSON, byte buddy interceptor. Let's see what is the issue here. Let's see. Do we have to make anything else? You have to do anything else. The annotation ignores the field and JSONification. You need to use this in the class level as below. You need to ignore 2 more fields. Oh, you have to ignore 2 more fields. These 2 fields are also expected to be ignored. Let's copy this again. You don't need to remember all of this. Everything is there in the documentations. So you need to remove this as well. And you need to remove the handler as well. These 2 things also you need to technically ignore. Right. Handler and this looks good. Why is there an error? Let's see. Equals expected. Why is that? Oh, sorry. It's an object. You have to pass it like in a pair of curly braces. Okay. Again, syntactical things. Let's restart the server. Completed initialization in 1 second. Okay. Let's send it again. And okay, this is still fetching everything here. Driver is being fetched and driver is again fetching the booking, right? I guess in that case, driver is a 2 nested property. Let's add it maybe on a Uber level. Let's maybe somewhere before. So for example, instead of driver, let's say we have a review, and inside the review, or let's say we have a booking. Let's see. First of all, let's go to the review and let's say we add it to the review that we don't want booking. We don't want booking. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Let's see what happens now. Da-da. Okay, server is turning up. Completed. Send it again. And now you can see we are able to fetch the review, right? Can you guys see this? Okay. Now let's say we want to have the booking. So let's do one thing. Let's not have it here. And let's go to the booking. Inside the booking, when you want to fetch the details of the booking, let's say we do not want to fetch the details of the driver, for example. Let's see what happens. Driver, and we don't want passenger because they have a nested circular reference. Send it. Okay. Again, you can play around with this. You can play around with this. If I send this request, you can see now booking is coming up, but the driver and passengers are not coming up. Can you guys see this? Oh, and in fact, I realized the problem. So, in fact, what you can do is you don't even need to have this in the booking. Let's say if you go to the driver, let's have this in the driver, right? That we want to avoid bookings. Do you remember this is not working? Do you remember this is not working? If you remember, this is not working. Can anyone tell me why this will not work if I add this in the driver? Why this is not working if I'm adding it in the driver? Very subtle answer to this. If I will make a request, can you see this is not working? Why is this not working? Anybody? It was working in the reviews. It is working in the bookings. Why it's not working with the driver? Actually, it is working with the driver. The problem is inside the booking table. No. Inside the booking table, you have a reference to the driver and you have a reference to the passenger. If you go to the passenger also have a reference to the bookings, right? So this particular line you need to add here as well. That here also we don't need bookings. Can I say that? Here also we don't need to have bookings. Yes. So now the passenger bookings were coming up. Now the passenger bookings were coming up. So here, let's say bookings. Now if you will run it, as far as I can see, this should work. Send it. 1 second. What happened? This is bookings. This is the spelling correct? Bookings. In the driver, this is also bookings. And in the booking model, we don't have anything. In the review model, we don't have anything. Table name was booking. I guess you don't have to write the table name. I guess you just have to write the reference of here. But let's see. Let's rerun it. Let's rerun it. Let's see. So if I send it now, some issue is there. Why it's not able to convert? Byte buddy converter, and let's see what's the issue. So Jackson is not able to probably convert something. Let's call it as booking maybe. Let's see. In the driver and passenger, let's call it as booking and let's see then what happens. I don't think this will work, but let's see. Why is @ fetch given for booking? We discussed about this in the last class, Susan. We discussed about this. There is something called as a n+1 problem. Remember? There's something called as a n+1 problem. So for n+1 problem, you can have fetch mode as subselect. Okay. Send it. Okay, so this is, yeah. So we need to have bookings here only, otherwise it will keep on fetching. Not sure why it's not working. I'll maybe check separately. Are we missing something? License number, this bookings is there in the passenger. Bookings is there. Okay. And inside the booking, this is good. Let's see, anything else? Hibernate, lazy initializer, and handler we have added. Hibernate, lazy initializer, handler, bookings. Maybe there is some more mapping, probably. Let's see. Is there any other mapping also? So we have a booking. Booking has status, this. Only driver and passenger mapping is there. Okay. Review has a booking mapping. Okay. Passenger has this. We have already avoided this. And now if you send it, oh, sorry, server is not up. Let's see what's the issue. We can just Google the issue very quickly. But yeah, like I guess you guys have two main methods. You can use this JSON ignore. You can use this JSON ignore properties. This is one way to avoid this recursive fetching. And you have DTOs. Now, just one quick question. Can anybody tell me why even having fetch type lazy, it was still fetching all of the corresponding objects? Why? What do you think it might be the reason for that? What do you think might be the reason for that? That still having fetch type lazy was technically fetching all of these things again and again? It's not because of Spring Data JPA. Who constructs the JSON? Who constructs the final JSON? We talked about it in the very initial set of classes. Beans, no. Very good, Akash. Akash has given the right answer. What about rest of the people? Guys, who is responsible for creating the JSON response? No. It is your serialization library. Remember? Remember, it's your serialization library. Can I say that? So what is the serialization default library? We have Jackson here. So yeah, if you are using JSON or some other library, then that is going to be responsible for. So now Jackson is trying to like fetch your object with the corresponding object. Then it sees that, okay, get booking gives me this. Then driver.get booking gives me this, and so on. So it keeps on recursively preparing that JSON object, and probably the maximum size JSON object, what it is able to prepare, and then send it on our Postman frontend. That is the main reason why it's happening. There is one more thing that people have suggested, that instead of doing this here, you can just do it here. So let's try it out. Copy this. Let's go to passenger also, paste it here. Remove this. And once again. Oh, one more thing. The passenger type, we have to make what? I guess I know the issue, why this was not working. Let's first of all try with this. So passenger type, I guess we have to manually make fetch type lazy. I guess that is not being done here. So fetch is equals to fetch type lazy. Otherwise it is manually then fetching it. If it will fetch it, then though it will have the corresponding properties. So I believe maybe having fetch type lazy might work, but let's see. Yeah, Akash. I also noticed that. So if I send it again, no, not working. And in fact, oh, our mistake. One-to-many has a default fetch type as lazy only, right? So even if you don't mention, this doesn't matter. Let's remove this and let's copy this, paste it here, copy this. Let's rerun our server. Okay. It is still fetching the data in the wrong way. Yep, that's a shame. Let's come back now. This syntax is not working for us. Let's do one thing. And why do we have this fetch type lazy when the default fetch type is already lazy? Why do we need to separately mention it? No point. Let's restart the server once. This is still throwing the error. I'll check it. I'll check why this error is being thrown. Something is happening with Jackson. Some property probably it is not able to read. Not sure why, but what query has been executed. So you can see the query that has been executed is it fetches the booking, then it fetches the driver details, it fetches the passenger details. And the moment it fetches the passenger details, that's when the problem starts occurring. Okay. Oh, we have some error coming up here. It says no serializer found. Okay, there is some serialization issue for fail on empty beans. Uber service.model review booking and hibernate lazy initializer. Oh, 1 second. So it's not able to find the Jackson library to actually convert this booking probably. Although we have mentioned it. Let's see what other things it says. No serializer found. This. We can maybe Google this part. We can maybe just Google this part. Oh, so you can see. Did you just read what happened? It says serialization feature fail on empty beans. They are asking you to disable it. Okay, we can just quickly Google it as well. But I believe I know the issue. Probably there's a configuration that we have to actually disable. But let's read about it. Let's say, let's remove this. Let's remove this. Let's see. Da-da-da. You can see they're asking us to configure this fail on empty beans. Right. Let's see what is this? What is this fail on empty beans meaning? Okay, let's try to understand the meaning of this configuration. You can see it's a very Jackson specific configuration. You might not have to use it every time, but let's see. Okay. Command F. Okay, you can see in Spring Boot, we can set the following property. This property can be set at the application level to control the behavior of Jackson serialization across the entire application. So they are also technically suggesting, okay. We can just quickly check on Gemini maybe. What is the meaning of this chat with Gemini? No thanks. Okay. What is the meaning of this particular configuration? Let's see. Is related to how Spring integrates Jackson to a this. Specifically, it controls whether Jackson throws an exception when it encounters an empty bean during serialization. Okay. So what's happening is, if you close it here, now because these are the bookings, right? So now what you're saying is you don't want these bookings to come up here. So probably what's happening is Jackson still tries to actually serialize it. Jackson still tries to actually serialize it. And if it is not able to serialize because this was coming empty, because now you have asked not to serialize it, this actually throws exception. So what you can do is, let's try it out. Let's take this configuration and make it false. Let's go to our application property. I believe this should technically do something for us, but let's see. Otherwise, I'll just separately check it. This to false. Okay. And we don't need this. Let's rerun our application. Okay. And if you send it, now you can see everything is coming. So we were actually missing that configuration altogether. Can you guys see this? So all we did is we added this configuration here. Passenger, driver, we added this JSON ignore property, and that's it. Make sense, everyone? Yes, Rajat. That's the issue. So guys, how many of you guys understood what is the issue here? Why it was not working and why this configuration property helped it to work? Because this says fail on empty beans. At any point of time, if you receive an empty bean, which was probably sometime expected, then what Jackson does is Jackson throws an exception. But now we have said, no, this is our requirement only. You don't have to throw an exception in case you are not able to find a corresponding bean altogether. Make sense? So this also you can use, but I still believe, like, if you will go to production level code, in production level code, everything is actually handled using DTOs. Because even if, just think about it. For example, for a moment, let's say you are able to get this kind of a data. Don't you think this data is also revealing too much information? Like driver's ID is coming up, created at, updated at is coming up, right? Probably we don't want this much amount of information, right? Maybe we just wanted booking status. That's it. So always you will see that there are corresponding response objects, response DTOs, and request DTOs that are prepared. These request DTOs and response DTOs make sure that whatever we are doing on our backend is still hidden. What client sends as a request and receives as a response is all separated out altogether. That's why we need DTOs. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Whatever we have discussed today, what is a DTO? Why do you need it? Apart from DTO, if you want to do the same thing, how you can do it with JSON serialization. How many of you guys are able to get this point? Anything you guys want me to go through again? Guys, anything you want me to repeat? Everyone. Quick yes or no in the chat from everyone. If you guys want me to repeat anything. Is the concept of DTO now making sense to everyone? Pawan, is this scenario review DTO in the response DTO? Yes. You can say review response DTO also, Susan. If you want to name it as review response DTO, you can name it that. I just said it review DTO because probably these are the set of information we need a lot of times, right? For example, these DTO, guys, FYI, these DTO objects you can also use to make a request from this service. Now, from this review service, if you want to make a request, then also you will need to create a DTO. That DTO you are going to store and then make a request altogether. Okay, so now what's happening? Inside our controller, we have a post request. This post request expects a create review DTO, Somnath. Create review DTO says it will get the content, rating, and booking ID. Now we receive the create review DTO object and we call this convert DTO adapter. Inside this adapter, we receive the create review DTO and we create a review object. How do we create a review object? We call the booking repository and fetch the booking details altogether. And then you can see we have a review object coming up. Now, if this review object is null, that means we were not able to find some property and something happened. I'm just saying a bad request for now. Don't worry on the error response part. If you are able to create this review object, then what we'll do is we are going to publish this review or we are going to save this review altogether. Once you have saved the review, then what we do is we create a review DTO response. where you just mention the ID, content, booking, rating, created at, updated at, and that's it. And then you return this response altogether. If you don't want to create this review DTO response, then what you can do is you can actually add this JSON ignore properties. Otherwise, what Jackson will do, it go to the review, get the booking, from booking it gets the driver, in driver it has the booking, then booking has a driver, then driver has a booking. It tries to nest everything. We don't want that kind of a nesting. Hence, we need this annotation coming up ahead. Make sense, everyone? Now, these kind of cases you will also encounter once you will make an end-to-end API altogether. Are you guys able to get this point? That's why I'm again and again asking you to work on that Cora project. That once you start working on this, you will see that, okay, this kind of case also exists, this kind of case also exists. And there is sometimes some inbuilt solutions like this JSON ignore properties, or there can be a programmatic solution that you can build yourself. It depends. If you want too much magic to happen, go with this. I don't like too much magic. That's why, and in production code also, you will see people not using too much magic. Like magic is good at a certain level. Too much magic is, of course, not that required. So this DTO structure is something that is, or this DTO pattern is something that a lot of people will find using. Make sense, everyone? Susan, what you can actually do is, if you go to your course dashboard, and come up here, this one. Oh, where is it? This one. Lesson 26. There is an assignment PDF. It has the basic set of requirements coming up. Make sense? Go to section number 26. And one second. Is this you, Susan? One second. If I go to repositories, I have a PR. Is this your PR, Susan? Is this your PR? No? Okay, cool. Because we have an unnamed PR on our PR or on our project, but yeah. Okay, cool. Make sense, everyone? Okay. So now there are 2 action items on my end. I have to add one Postman lecture. That's again a bonus lecture. If you want, you can explore it. It's a very interesting set of use cases of Postman that Ree has talked about. So I'll upload that lecture. One lecture I will upload on the adapter design pattern so that you can get a context on what is adapter and so on and so forth. It's a very simple design pattern. Like you already implemented that here. So it just takes one object and converts it to another object. So pretty simple design pattern altogether. Make sense, everyone? Got it, guys? Sure, Rajat. Please ping me. Any questions, guys, before we wrap up? Any questions before we wrap up? No questions? Okay, cool. In that case, let's wrap up today's session, guys. Please make sure you work on your Quora project so that you get all the required context there. We are going to meet soon in the next set of sessions. Till then, take care, guys. Bye-bye. Have a really lovely week ahead and keep coding, everyone.